Let's not ruin the friendship, she said while pulling away from my kiss, so I let her keep it. Now she's crying that I treat her like any other friend. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I don't even remember when our friendship crossed that invisible line, when the late night calls started feeling like dates, or when her laugh started hitting different. Her name's Maya. We met 3 years ago through mutual friends, bonded over sarcasm and bad coffee. She was the kind of person who made every room brighter without realizing it, and the kind of woman who never seemed to notice when someone was falling for her. We became inseparable. Movie nights turned into sleepovers on opposite sides of the couch, but still, she'd call me when her dates went wrong, half joking that I was the only guy who actually listens. I played it off like it didn't sting. Over time, it felt mutual, small things that kept me believing. She'd rest her head on my shoulder, send good morning texts unprompted, hug me a little longer than necessary. Every sign pointed to maybe. One night it felt inevitable. We'd spent the evening at her place watching some old indie film neither of us paid attention to. She had a rough week. Her boss yelled at her. Her ex posted something smug online. All that. She leaned into me halfway through the movie, mumbling something about being tired. I just wrapped my arm around her without thinking. Silence. Comfortable, slow, warm silence. She tilted her head up to look at me. Her eyes lingered, too long for just friends. And for the first time, I didn't overthink it. I leaned in, not fast, not reckless, just enough to see if she'd meet me halfway. She didn't. Instead, she froze, then smiled that pitying, soft smile people use when they think they're being kind. Let's not ruin the friendship, okay? My brain stalled. Ruin? I asked. This. Us. I don't want things to get weird. You're my favorite person, but… She paused, searching for words that wouldn't sound cruel. You're my best friend. I don't want to mess that up. It was the kind of sentence that lands like a punch, but sounds like a compliment. I could have said a dozen things, how she'd been blurring those lines for months, how I wasn't imagining her hands lingering, how best friends don't flirt like that. But what came out was just, okay, friends, then. No bitterness, no plea, just acceptance, clean and sharp. She looked almost disappointed that I didn't argue. You're not upset? You were honest, I said. That's enough. I stood up, grabbed my jacket, and smiled. Not a fake one, just tired. Good night, Maya. Her face fell slightly. You don't have to be weird about it. I'm not, I said, just adjusting. And I left. That's the thing about quiet heartbreak. It doesn't explode, it just fades into stillness. I walked home that night with my phone buzzing in my pocket. A text from her. Hey, don't make this awkward. I really do care about you. I didn't answer. Not because I was angry, but because for once, I actually believed her. She did care, just not enough. That was the night I stopped being her emotional boyfriend and actually became what she said I was, just a friend. And she'd regret saying it sooner than either of us expected. The morning after that conversation, I woke up with a strange sense of clarity. It wasn't anger. It was like someone had turned down the volume on a song I'd been replaying for years. I didn't block her. I didn't delete our photos. I just stopped prioritizing her. For the first few days, she didn't seem to notice. We still texted, but my replies got shorter. I stopped initiating calls, stopped sending memes or random, "you'll love this" links. The late-night conversations dried up. And when she called me out on it, I was polite, detached. You okay? You've been distant lately, she said one night. Yeah, just been busy, I replied. No blame, no tension. Just factual. That's the difference between being rejected and accepting reality. One hurts, the other liberates. At first, she treated it like a phase. She'd send inside jokes, old selfies of us, little attempts to reignite what we had. I'd respond with a thumbs up emoji or a simple haha. Nothing more. Then she invited me to brunch. Just friends, she said. I showed up 15 minutes late, wearing a shirt she once said made me look too serious. She looked surprised, maybe because I didn't hug her, maybe because I ordered before she even arrived. You seem different, she said, eyes narrowing. Maybe I am. She tried to laugh it off, but I could see the shift happening, the same one I'd felt months ago. She was trying to reconnect, but the dynamic had flipped. After brunch, she hugged me longer than usual. I let her, but my arms didn't tighten around her this time. She pulled back and frowned. You're cold lately. No, I said. Just consistent. She didn't know what to say. Over the next few weeks, our friendship became exactly what she said she wanted: ordinary, casual. She'd text, I'd reply hours later. She'd ask to hang out. I'd have plans. Not to be cruel, but because I actually did start having plans. Gym, new coworkers, small adventures I used to skip in case she called. And the less I was available, the more she started showing up unannounced. One Friday, she dropped by my place with takeout, just like old times. I was already getting ready to leave. You're going out? She asked, a bit too sharply. Yeah, meeting some people from work. She tried to joke it off. Anyone I know? No, just people. When I walked past her to grab my jacket, she blurted, You don't talk to me like you used to. I looked at her, really looked, and saw someone realizing she'd lost something she didn't think was possible to lose. You told me we were better as friends, I said evenly. So I'm being a friend. Her mouth opened, then closed. This isn't what I meant, she said quietly. I nodded. But it's what you asked for. That night, she sent me a wall of text, nostalgic, apologetic in tone, but not in words. Stuff like, I just miss us. Things felt easy before. You've been such a constant in my life, and I hate that it feels off. I didn't reply. The silence wasn't a weapon, it was peace. And the more I pulled back, the more restless she became. She started posting those vague story captions people use when they want attention from one person, the ones that sound like growth, but read like regret. Sometimes we only realize what mattered when it's already gone. Distance reveals everything. Yeah, I saw them. I just didn't react. Because here's the truth. Once you stop chasing someone who takes your presence for granted, they either lose interest or lose their mind. Maya wasn't ready to lose either. And that's when she started testing boundaries she once set herself. It started with the midnight texts. Can't sleep. You up? Miss talking to you. At first, I ignored them. I wasn't trying to punish her. I'd just learned to value silence over hope. After a few nights, she called instead. I let it ring out. Then came a second call, then a third. Finally, I picked up. Everything okay? I asked. Yeah, she said quickly. Just couldn't sleep. Then you should try. There was a long pause, the kind where you can hear someone trying not to cry. You don't care anymore, do you? I didn't lie. Not the way I used to. The line went quiet. She mumbled something about being tired and hung up. That was the first crack in her composure. A week later, she accidentally bumped into me at a coffee shop near my office, the one she never used to go to. She acted surprised. Oh my God, hey, I didn't know you came here. I raised an eyebrow. I've been coming here for 2 years. She laughed awkwardly, twirling her straw. I guess I just forgot. We sat for a minute, polite small talk, nothing deeper. I could feel her fishing for something, some reaction that would prove I still cared. But she got nothing. When I stood to leave, she reached out. Hey, we're okay, right? I feel like you're mad at me. No, I said simply. We're just not what we used to be. Her expression faltered. I didn't think things would change this much. They usually do when someone walks away, I said, and left. That was the first time I saw her look truly unsure. Over the next month, she tried everything to reinsert herself into my life, tagging me in memes again, accidentally leaving comments on my posts, even showing up at group events she used to skip. At one of them, I noticed her watching me more than talking. I was chatting with a new coworker, a woman named Lila, sharp, funny, confident, and Maya couldn't stop glancing over. Later that night, I got another message. So who's Lila? I stared at it for a while, then replied, a friend. What? Just asking. You two seemed close. Yeah, she's great. No emoji, no elaboration, just truth. The next day, she texted again. You're different with her. I'm the same, I said. You just stopped paying attention. She left me on read for a day, then called again that night. Can we talk? I just feel like everything's weird lately. Because you made it weird, I said calmly. She exhaled sharply, frustrated. You don't have to be so cold, you know. You told me to be your friend. I'm being one. Silence again. Then, softly, I miss how you used to look at me. That line hit harder than I wanted it to, but I didn't give her the satisfaction of hearing that. You can't miss something you threw away, I said, and ended the call. That was the night I realized she wasn't confused anymore. She was jealous, not of who I was seeing, but of who I'd become without her. Detached, focused, free. And the more grounded I became, the more unsteady she got. She started showing up at my gym just to say hi, sending me old photos with captions like "Remember this day?" Acting nostalgic, playful, and oddly flirty, like she was trying to reset time. But that's the problem with trying to rekindle something that burned out on its own. All you get is smoke. The more she tried, the more I saw through it. It wasn't love, it was possession. And the moment she realized I wasn't coming back, that's when her desperation turned from subtle to obvious. Because when someone used to being adored suddenly loses control of the narrative, they'll do anything to rewrite it. And Maya was about to do exactly that. It started small, a late night "Hey, can we talk?" message, then 2 more the next night, then a phone call, then another. By the end of the week, she'd sent 11 messages in a row. "I've been thinking about us. You were always so patient with me. I feel like I made a mistake. Can we meet? Just coffee, please." I didn't answer right away. I read them all, then left them unopened for a day. The next evening, she showed up outside my building. She was leaning against her car, arms crossed, pretending to scroll through her phone. "Hey," she said when I approached, forcing a smile. "What a coincidence. You texted me 5 times." I said. "Okay, yeah, but I didn't think you'd actually ignore me like that." Her tone wasn't angry, it was wounded. Like she couldn't believe she'd lost control of something she assumed was permanent. "You walked away, Maya. I just took your advice and walked in the same direction." "I didn't mean it like that," she said quickly. "I just needed time to figure myself out." I stayed quiet. She kept going. "You were always the safe one." I thought maybe I was missing out on something exciting. But I was wrong. I raised an eyebrow. "And you realized that when?" She looked down. "When I tried dating again." "Ah, there it was. Didn't go well?" I asked. "He wasn't you," she said softly. "He said all the right things at first, but then he just changed. He made me feel small." I let the silence sit. She searched my face, waiting for sympathy that wasn't coming. "You always treated me like I mattered," she whispered. I didn't appreciate that enough. I could have said 100 things, but all I said was, "I know." That one line broke her composure. "You're so cold now," she said. "It's like I don't even exist to you. You told me to treat you like a friend," I said evenly. "This is how I treat my friends." Her voice cracked. "I thought you'd at least care that I've been miserable." "You're not miserable because of me," I said. "You're miserable because you gambled something real for something temporary." She looked at me like I'd slapped her. "Wow, you've really changed. That's what moving on looks like." She laughed bitterly, wiping her eyes. "You think you're better than me now, don't you?" "No," I said. "I just stopped letting you define my worth." She didn't reply, just got in her car and drove off. Over the next few weeks, her behavior escalated. She texted mutual friends, trying to find out if I was seeing someone. She accidentally liked old photos of me and Lila on Instagram. She even sent me a drunk voice note saying, "I hate that you don't chase me anymore." The next morning, she tried to play it off. "Ignore that. I was just emotional." But the cracks were too deep to hide. Then came the real twist. She tried to turn herself into the victim. She posted a vague story. "Some people change so much, you wonder if they ever cared at all." Mutual friends sent me screenshots. I didn't respond. 2 days later, she messaged me again. "Can we please just talk? I want to clear the air." I ignored it. She called. I let it ring. Then she called again and again, until finally, I picked up just to stop the noise. "What do you want, Maya?" "I want us back," she said. "I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But I was scared, okay? I thought you'd always be there no matter what I did." "That was your mistake," I said quietly. Her voice broke. "Please don't say that. I can't stand how indifferent you sound." "You taught me how," I replied. She went silent, then snapped. "You think you're so mature, so evolved, but you're just punishing me." "No," I said. "Punishment requires effort. This is just peace." That line must have hit her harder than anything else I'd said, because she didn't respond for a while. I heard her sniff, then whisper, "You really don't care anymore, do you?" "No, Maya, I really don't." Click. That was the last time I answered her call. After that, the begging turned into anger. The apologies turned into accusations. And the once smug woman who said, "We're better as friends," was now the one sending messages like, "You've changed. You used to love me. You'll regret ignoring me." But I didn't regret anything, because I'd finally realized the truth. She hadn't lost me. She'd lost the version of herself that only existed when I loved her. And that's something she'll never get back. The silence after that call was the cleanest peace I'd felt in years. No texts, no guilt, no manipulation dressed up as affection. Just space. A month went by. I buried myself in work, started running again, joined a few meetups, and finally booked the trip I'd been postponing for ages. Life began to expand in every direction she'd once shrunk it. Meanwhile, the whispers started trickling in. Maya's rebound, the guy she'd been seeing casually after our breakup, turned out to be everything she'd accused me of being: controlling, emotionally distant, and bored of her in record time. He ghosted her 2 weeks after their exclusive talk. Apparently, she'd posted a story about choosing herself that same night, but people noticed she looked wrecked. Then came another rumor. She'd been venting about how all the good men are cold now. Mutual friends told me she'd started isolating herself. She wasn't invited to hangouts anymore because everything turned into a therapy session about her ex. That ex being me. I never commented. I didn't need to. One night, at a friend's birthday dinner, I ran into her again, by chance, or maybe not. She looked thinner, tired. The easy confidence she used to wear like perfume was gone. When she saw me, her eyes widened slightly, as if she hadn't prepared for how detached I'd look. "Hey," she said softly. "Didn't think you'd be here." "Guess life's full of surprises," I said. We were surrounded by people, but the air between us was heavy, that silent acknowledgement that time had shifted everything. "You look good," she said after a pause. "Thanks," I replied. "You too." She smiled faintly. "I've been meaning to reach out." "No need," I said. "We already said everything that needed saying." "You really don't miss me at all?" she asked, half laughing, half pleading. "I don't even think about you," I said truthfully. Her expression faltered. She tried to brush it off, but I could see the panic in her eyes. Later that night, I caught her watching me laugh with a few friends, maybe realizing that my peace didn't include her anymore. A few days after that, she sent me one last text. "I finally understand what I threw away. I hope you're happy." I didn't respond, not because I wanted to be cruel, but because peace doesn't require an audience. 6 months later, I got an invitation to a mutual friend's wedding. I almost didn't go, but curiosity and closure have a strange way of aligning. When I arrived, she was there. Same black dress she used to wear to our anniversary dinners, as if trying to summon nostalgia. But all I felt was neutrality. I was with someone now, Lila, the same coworker Maya once rolled her eyes at. We'd grown close naturally, without the noise, without the games. Lila was elegance without performance, no pretense, no chaos. Just calm. Halfway through the reception, Maya approached me. "Hey," she said, voice a little shaky. "You look happy." "I am," I said simply. She looked at Lila, then back at me. "So you two are?" "Yeah," I said. "Been together a while now." She nodded, smiling through what looked like tears. "She seems sweet." "She is." There was a long silence. Then she said, "I used to think you were boring." I smiled faintly. "You told me that more than once." Turns out boring was peaceful, stable, kind. She looked down. "I thought I wanted passion, but I think I just wanted attention." "You always did," I said calmly. "The problem was you didn't know the difference." She nodded, biting her lip. "You really moved on, huh?" "Yeah," I said. "You told me to treat you like a friend." "So I did. And eventually, I treated you like any other acquaintance, someone I used to know." She exhaled shakily. "I hate how much that hurts." "It only hurts because you finally understand it's real," I said. Her eyes filled with tears. "I just want you to know I'm sorry. For everything. For taking you for granted." "I believe you," I said. "But that apology's for you, not me." She blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" "You're saying sorry to feel lighter." I already let it go. That silence was final. She looked at me one last time, then forced a smile. "She's lucky, you know." "No," I said. "We're lucky. We both chose better." Then I took Lila's hand and walked away. As I glanced back one last time, I saw Maya standing alone at the edge of the dance floor. Same spot where she used to pull me into dance when we were still us. Only now, no one was pulling her anywhere. When we got home that night, Lila asked, Was that weird for you? Not really, I said. It was just a reminder of how far I've come. She smiled and leaned into me. She didn't know what she lost. She never did, I said. And that was the truth. Because when someone says we're better as friends, they're betting you'll always care enough to stay close. But the real victory, the quiet, invisible one, is when you stop caring entirely. When you stop wishing for closure, stop needing to be understood, stop checking if they're still watching. Because by then, you've already won. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.